Hello and welcome back to the Blame Game for the Rumble stage of MSI. This is a weird one because I was excited to handle a number of topics that were going on and trending throughout the Rumble stage, but then on the last day, a lot of that stuff got turned upside down. I was excited to talk about was T1 overrated or not? Well, then they end the Rumble stage is arguably the strongest team in the tournament after they took down RNG. For G2, there was the 0-5 collapse. I was gonna go off on that, but then they beat EG at the end of the day, and it's kind of as expected. If you look at the rankings and how they were delivered at the end of the day, how we got there was a little bit weird, so I'll talk about that by digging into a couple specific games. I don't record these live on my Twitch channel, but you should follow me anyways because I was doing JLXPs live on there. And you never know what the fuck I'm gonna go live, and there's no schedule, there's no anything. So the only thing you can do is just follow and hope you're around when it happens. The first topic of the day is caps/craps on G2. The 0-5 slide brought a lot of criticism to different members of the team, with a fair bit landing on caps after looking like maybe the best mid laner through the first 4 games that they had won, and maybe the best player in the tournament. But now that they've lost, how much of that criticism he's getting is about the expectations versus actual bad performance. I want to look at the game versus Saigon Buffalo because that's maybe the most surprising that happened on the final day. His first death comes a little after 3 minutes into the game, where there's a ward in River that times out right before BeanJ runs over it, giving him a false sense of security. This timing window also leads Caps to get egged right inside his turret range. I mean, look at this minion getting shot. He's not even that poorly mispositioned. It was just really unfortunate circumstances all around. There's another tight timing window about 850 into the game where it makes it look like Caps chose not to follow. His TP was actually not available right when this dive started happening, which is a result of their bot lane kind of getting boomed this game, which is where a lot of the problems of this game stemmed from. And because his teleport came up, it looks like he just chose to stay mid and start hitting the turret to a lot of people. That's not to say everything was just bad circumstances. There was one hard int by him. 11 minutes into the game, his bot lane dies yet again, and Caps wants to hard push mid lane to try and punish Saigon for spending their resources down there. The Saigon players roam up river straight through wards, so he knows it's coming, but Caps just greeds for that last turret plate, which allows him to get flashed on and killed. Come teamfight phase, I would say Caps usually plays them quite well. In this teamfight, he plays it pretty much as well as you can imagine, using all his resources. It was just basically a 4v5 because they got jumped on before Broken Blade was in position. In what is effectively the game-ending fight, he's not able to play as aggressively because his flash was forced when he used it to stop a Baron attempt, and in reality, this is Flakket's fault mostly for flashing late. The tether will go through if you wait till the last quarter second, basically, no matter what happens. That's when Flakkett tried to flash. The chain doesn't break, he gets pulled back in and killed. In this whole game, that's like, what, one egregious error? I understand it's a come down from his performance during the 24-game win streak when he looked like one of the best mids in the world, but in reality, G2 can't rely on him that hard if they want to make a late run into this tournament. I don't think he's playing terribly, certainly not bad enough to earn the Craps moniker where he sometimes is inting constantly, but his performance during the Rumble stage has actually been kind of middling, to the point that you could debate if him or Jojo had the 3rd best mid lane performance. Depending on your expectations of Caps, who can hit that best in tournament levels, maybe you find that blameworthy. Personally, I don't. The next topic, T1 is overrated. Just kidding. No, the topic is actually their Baron setups. Now, for a lot of people, they were expecting the typical LCK macro. They might only be international viewers, not watching them regionally, and be disappointed when the T1 tournament favorites were throwing a lot of games at Baron. Now the question is, were these actually bad decisions? One thing I want to address is the different environment that T1 plays in compared to Western teams. Now, there's no best of ones, and so you might build up some habits that are especially punished in a best of one setting because they don't have to usually think about that. We call these 50-50 flips, but they're really not. They're weighted in T1's favor. They're 60-40s at worst. And in a best of 3 or a best of 5, if you go for one of these and you lose it, you still have some more opportunities to try and play cleaner in the future. And with how good T1 is, they lead the league and lead the tournament in gold at 15, then you can kind of take these risks because you know, well, we win almost every early game. The problem is, when you do lose this flip, it just counts as an L on your record. Some of these aren't great calls, but a lot of them are coming down to poor execution, and let's look at the EG game to highlight that. This one at 21 minutes, I think, is a fine call. They're up enough gold to force, the TPs are mismatched, and they want to force GPs out, and Taric can keep you topped up early on when Baron damage is quite high, so you're not actually in threat of getting exploded. The problem is that Keria pops his Taric ultimate as soon as Nocturne turns the lights out, as opposed to when he actually goes in. Then they peel off instead of flipping the Baron. The Taric ultimate times out right as GP hits a 20% crit for the fat deeps. This was just insane timing by Impact as well. I think they just need to stay on the Baron until Nocturne actually comes in, so they have Ren stacks built up to win the Smite fight. Taric then pops his ultimate as soon as Nocturne shows up to negate the Galio follow-up. You either win the Baron flip or kill them right after. The flip at 28 minutes I dislike quite a bit more. While they are going to get outscaled, they can also try and hang on for the Soul flip in 3 minutes instead, which you can pull out of the pit to make the Wombo combo of EG less threatening. Again though, execution is the bigger problem. People flame Gumayusi for not stepping into the Taric ultimate, but if you watch in slow-mo, he's just trying to kite the Galio taunt so he can continue stacking his Rens on Baron, and he desperately tries to get into Zeus' Taric ultimate, but Zeus hard trolls him by kiting away. I don't mind the ideas of these flips nearly as much as the execution, and I fully expect T1 to continue doing them going into the future as they take on G2. That's gonna do it for this episode of The Blame Game. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys later for the MSI Finals!
Hello everyone, it is me, Travis. I'm staying up late again for MSI this year. Wow, I'm excited for when I get to finally travel to international events, starting with Worlds this year. But the cool thing is that I would probably not have the will to do this if it wasn't for Alienware supporting me, because it's late. It's very late here in California, and I'm tired. But it doesn't matter, because I want to get you this great coverage, and Alienware wants to support me getting you that great coverage. So thank you to Alienware for making this all possible, and I will stay awake with their support.